Do you want to know where the Anunnaki fucked up with us? I'll tell you how they fucked up with us. When there was the initial debate if hominids should be transformed into a worker race for the Anunnaki that were here on Earth to mine their gold, there are certain laws that everybody has to abide by. A little bit like, the Prime Directive. Basically, you can't go playing God on other planets. You can't go and interrupt other civilizations and their evolution process. You just can't touch that. Now, the loophole for the Anunnaki was this, and this is why they thought they could do it and not have karmic consequences for it or not get in trouble for it. The Anunnaki's god is the sun god Shamash. They believe that all planets are sentient beings. In fact, they are all deities for the Nibirian pantheon of gods. Every planet of our solar system is a god or goddess. So the ancient history for them that they know is that Earth, once upon a time, was a planet called Tiamat. And this was in the early stages of our solar system. A rogue planet, which should be technically Nibiru, came into our solar system by chance, got caught in our sun's orbit, now does this weird elliptical orbit around our sun of 3,650 years. So when this first happened, that Nibiru got trapped into our solar system, it ended up colliding with the planet Tiamat. Tiamat broke into two, and their mythology tells us that one part of it became Earth, Gaia, Ki, they called it Ki, and the other part became the moon. When this happened and this fracture occurred, this is when they knew about Tiamat having veins of gold. Okay, so now we're going to go back to why they thought it was okay to create Homo sapiens sapien from the hominids that were on this planet. They believe that the seed of life of Earth was thanks to that collision. Basically, they think that Nibiru seeded Earth with the life organism. So when Enki saw the hominids that were already on Earth, he said, these are our predecessors. When Anu, Enlil, and Enki were all deciding what to do about the strike that the Igigi had, basically the Igigi were the astronauts from Nibiru that came to Earth to make these settlements, but they were astronauts. I mean, it's not like they wanted to mine gold and do all of this forced labor. I mean, it was hard. And remember, they didn't even have any women here yet. To me, it looks like it was this big prison world where everybody was forced to do excessive work except the royals. Okay. Anyway, so basically Enki said, hey, there is a hominid race on this planet. It looks like one of our predecessors. I think that it's us. I think that Nibiru seeded life into Tiamat at the time. And then everybody was like, then we can do it. And that's when they start mixing their DNA with this hominid because they thought it was the same being. So here's where they fucked up. We were never the same being as them. We were not their predecessors. We had nothing to do with them. We were an entirely different species. Let's be clear. Our origin race started on this planet and has nothing to do with the Anunnaki. Even though we looked like created by a god that we think is the God of the Bible. But no, the religions that are on this planet all came from and were created by the Anunnaki. They did it as a control system. Governments, they created them as a control system. Cities, countries, borders, they created everything. Control, control, control. We are their pets in their minds. In their minds, that's how they consider us. Animals that they made, we're like their little pets, but we're not. And when they realize that we are a species that can evolve to a higher level, even compared to them, that's when everybody went, oh no, what did we do? This is when they divided us by race. They started making everyone different. In the beginning, we all spoke the same language. They changed languages around. They changed writings around. This is why nobody understands ancient Sumerian. That was the language of everyone. Cuneiform writing, that was the writing of everyone. Then they moved us around, divided us, and created different religions, different countries, different races. That way we were all divided and we would never unite again. Why? Because if we are united, we can find our true potential. Our God is not their God. We were not created by Shamash, the sun god. The real true creator of all that is for us is a totally different being. In fact, when they came here and they jump-started us, they launched our evolution by 1,000,000 years, all at once, from one day, monkeys that stood up straight, to Homo sapiens sapien. That was not natural, that was not organic. They mixed their DNA with us. But since we were destined to be something greater, since we are something more, something spiritual, something more enlightened than they are, something that they could never be, ends up that we were not their predecessors. They jumped in and modified a being that had nothing to do with them. We had our own destiny. They interfered with our destiny. I'm pretty sure that they have huge karmic consequences because of this, and they can't go ahead to the next step without us now, because they interfered. But this isn't even the biggest fuck up. The biggest fuck up was, we're more than them. You know Lucy, the one that can use all of her brain power? That's who we're destined to be. It's not true that if you use all of your brain power, you're going to implode. That's a movie. They want you to believe that. They want you to be scared of it. But it's not true. That's like implanting something so that you believe it. Absolutely. If we use all of our brain potential, we are like gods. At a certain point, after the Tower of Babel, you had the Anunnaki that freaked out. Why? Because they realized that we are more than them. They realized, wait a second, this monkey pet of ours has become smarter than us? Can do the same things as us in this primitive state? Imagine what they can become in 1,000 years or 2,000 years. In fact, look at us now. So their fuck up was, first of all, we are not their predecessors. They had no right coming in and touching anything or modifying or doing any of what they did. We would have been so happy in our tribes, living out our spirituality, connected to Earth again. You know what we would be like? The world of Avatar on Pandora in the movie. We are the Na'vi. We would be them. After the Tower of Babel, when they realized that we could create spaceports, spaceships, and do everything that they could, this is when they dumbed us down. They tweaked our DNA. They took the caps off of our telomeres, making them disintegrate. That means that we age now. We're supposed to live hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, just like Moses, Adam, all of our predecessors, all of our ancestors, the first men. They lived almost 1,000 years each. We were supposed to live that long. Our lives are way too short, and they shortened our lifespans and made us age so rapidly so that we would never become so elevated, so smart, so illuminated of knowledge. What scientists call junk DNA is not junk DNA. It's all the DNA of what we were supposed to be. If that DNA is activated, as I said, we are gods. Of course they don't want us to be gods. They would not be in control of us anymore. The people that rule the world right now are not supposed to be ruling, and if we were who we were destined to be, they wouldn't. So basically, this is how the Anunnaki fucked up with us. They should not have interfered with our natural evolution. Then when they realized we were too smart, they should not have dumbed us down. They literally make us age and not use all of our potential. Why? Because they still need the worker race. We're still working for them. Why do you think it was so important for religions to come in and to kind of erase the Sumerian culture so that you would never know? This is why. We are enlightened spiritual beings. We are gods in our own way. Our soul, our speck of light, is a speck of godness, of the true one creator of all. We are all part of this collective, of this one being, fractioned out into the universe so that we could have multiple experiences at the same time. And we learn and learn and learn, because it was never supposed to be this way. We are supposed to have our DNA totally unlocked, our mind, our brain capacity totally unlocked. We were supposed to be the gods. Have you never had that feeling that something just doesn't sit right? And I'm not just talking about religions, even about the Anunnaki themselves. Wasn't there always something that just didn't sit right? There was something more. Why suppress an entire Earth so much? Just for workers? So do you believe this to be true? Do you believe that we were destined to be so much more? Do you believe that we are more gods than the Anunnaki are? I say yes.